and a very good morning to all the participants connected with us and the participants available with us in this classroom. So, as told to all of you by Dr. Pramod Kumar Singla sir, that today's session is on effective communication skill. So, as far as your course is concerned, the title of the program is Mentoring Skills for Effective Curriculum Implementation. So, after reading the title of this particular program, it was clear to me that today, when I'm going to discuss about the aspects of communication, it is more related to a teacher who is communicating in a classroom environment. So, in today's session, when we discuss about effective communication skills that as a teacher we need to develop, we need to consider that what kind of student population we have at institute level, and considering that student population, what are the different skills of communication and what new as a teacher we need to learn as far as the aspects of communication is concerned. So, as far as communication is concerned, it's a very famous saying that if you want to improve a teacher's self esteem, confidence, communication skill, or stress level, you improve that teacher's overall effectiveness across the curriculum. So, as far as the skill of communication is concerned, it is an important aspect. So, when a teacher is available in a classroom setup, it is a curriculum or the syllabus that the teacher is going to deliver to the student. So teacher is going to design many instructional messages as per that curriculum that is provided to the faculty. And suppose that if the teacher is not able to deliver that content to the student in an effective manner. So when I'm saying in an effective manner, in communication, we need to consider that when I'm communicating with other members, there must be a common understanding that I am developing. If I am available with 60 students in my class, those 60 students, whatever message I'm trying to convey to them, or whatever message I'm delivering to them, maybe in a written form or maybe with the help of my verbal explanation, if as a teacher I'm not able to deliver that instructional message in an effective manner, I am not considering myself as an effective communicator in a class. So there are students in my class who come from the diverse backgrounds. There are students in my class who come up with a different kind of interest or different level of motivation. So effective communicator means is it possible for me to develop interest of all the students in my class by designing few of the messages to them? Those messages may be related to the curriculum. Those messages may be even if the teacher is creating humor in a class, even if the teacher is illustrating some sort of story with the students, even if the teacher is giving some case study kind of analysis. My purpose is to deliver that curriculum to the student. But how I'm delivering that information to my student, that makes me a good teacher with the help of that effective communication skill. So, with this note, we are going to start our session on effective communication. So, when it comes to the communication, in 1960, the definition by Brallo was given that it is the interaction of ideas between communicator and receiver to arrive at a common understanding for mutual benefit. Now, think of this condition in your classroom environment. Who is the communicator and who will be the receiver? Who is the communicator? Teacher is the communicator and students are the receiver. It is vice versa also. Sometimes the students are designing questions for all of us. So whenever we are delivering information to them, they are critically analyzing that information. And in simple words, we can say the students are processing that information. So once they are in the processing part, when they are processing that amount of information, they are designing some sort of questions for us. Those questions are nothing but in terms of communication, these are the instructional question that they are going to design. So when I'm communicating to them, I'm communicating all kind of instructional information, and after listening to that instructional information, they are sending questions to me. So sometimes student become the sender and teacher become receiver of that information. So why we are communicating with each other, why we are interacting with each other? Because we want to develop an common understanding. So common understanding related to that content matter. So I am delivering something to all of you. If I'm not able to develop a common understanding between you and me, it is not possible for me to go through with this information in detail. So when I'm communicating in this particular class and there are many questions asked by my participant in this particular group, it is clear to me that two-way communication is happening in this environment, and it is possible for us to generate many ideas when there is two-way communication that is happening. If for the next 50 minutes I am just delivering information and nobody is interacting with me, what will happen? Is it effective communication? No, it will not be an effective communication. So if nobody is interacting with me, nobody is asking question to me, I am delivering the session as per my own assumption. I'm thinking of that, yes, this information might be useful for all of you, or this kind of information may be already known to all of you, so I need not to design these kind of messages. So when we are saying the mutual benefit, whenever there is two-way communication, it is beneficial for the receiver and for the sender also. And in a classroom environment, when we are talking about communication, and for effective curriculum implementation, when we are talking about effective communication, the teacher is not always the sender of the message. The teacher need to act as a receiver of that information also, so that after getting that information, the teacher is able to design messages to develop common understanding of that information. So that is how it is possible for me to create two-way kind of communication in a classroom environment. The second definition that is given by Curtin in the year 2011 is the process of transmitting information and common understanding from one person to another person. From 1960 to 2001, what was the major change that we were able to observe in the environment of, or in this particular literature, is how we are going to transmit information. It means we need to consider the various channels of communication. We need to consider that what are the different ways by which my students will be, or my student population is ready to gather that amount of information. Is it only me as a teacher who is the information provider, or there are multiple sources available with the students by using which they are developing their understanding? So as we grow, as human population grows, and there is integration of technology in the form of various communication channels, we need to consider that what is the demand of today's student population. So if I'm ignoring those demands, if I'm ignoring those expectations of my student population, maybe I'm not able to effectively communicate with them. So later on in this particular session, I will show you two of the different websites on the basis of which global level, how the teachers are preparing for communicating with their student. What are the different slangs the students are using nowadays? What are the different new terms or words they are adding in their vocabulary on day to day basis? So why we need to understand all these things? As population changes, or as the student population changes, when there is integration of technology, when there are many media channels that are in today in every environment, we need to understand that the way we were communicating with our student and way we need to communicate with our student is going to be changed. Another important information that I would like to share with all of you is that how NEP 2020 is changing the context of communication. So when I asked all of you a question that who is the sender of the information, the first common reply that came towards me was, it is the teacher who is the sender of the information and students are the receiver of the information. But what NEP is stressing upon, the classes must not be teacher centered classes. When you are saying teacher is the sender of the information, you are giving me an hint that, so when you said the teacher is the sender of the information, so you are giving hint to us that these are the teacher directed classrooms. When I'm saying teacher directed classroom means we are considering that we as teacher are providing all kind of information to the student. But by considering the characteristics of this student population, government came up with NEP 2020, and NEP 2020 is talking about teacher student centered classroom environment. Student centered classroom environment means rather than focusing on directive kind of teaching style, the teacher need to focus on developmental kind of teaching. So when we are talking about student led classroom, Student-led classroom means where student will become the in charge of that activity. It means there must be more of team-based and group-based activities given to the student, where the teacher can be participative agent in the various discussions that is created by the student in a class. So when we are saying student led classroom and we are making student the in charge of that particular classroom, it is a hint to the teacher that the classes must be changed from teacher directed to the student learning environment, and four skills of communication comes into picture. What the students will do in a classroom, the student will listen to each other, not only to the faculty but also to the fellow students. The teachers will direct the student to perform certain kind of writing by using the second most important skill of communication in a classroom is writing skill. So when the teacher is developing these kind of writing skills in a classroom environment, it is not only compulsory writing, but the teacher also need to create independent writing skills among student. The third major skill of communication is, after listening and writing, reading. How as a teacher it is possible for you to involve the students into different reading kind of activity. So when there was teacher centered classroom and teacher is delivering all kind of information, and when there is a student centered classroom, the student will decide that what are the different sources of information need to be available with me, that within a group and within a team it is possible for me to read that literature and come up with the conclusion. And the fourth basic skill of communication is speaking. What are the different opportunities provided to the student to speak about any kind of information? When the student will able to speak about an information, when the teacher is providing them opportunity to present information. So as a teacher and as NEP is stressing upon the student led classroom, it means the NEP is also stressing upon the development of four basic skills of communication in a classroom environment, that is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Earlier, before NEP, the major focus was on teacher was delivering information. So most of the time the teacher involved himself or herself into which kind of skill? Speaking skill. And teacher is using different teaching aid. Maybe the teacher is using blackboard or whiteboard in a classroom. Teacher is preparing PowerPoint presentation. Who was involved in developing writing skills in a classroom? It is the teacher on day-to-day basis who is practicing the writing skill. The opportunity provided to the student in terms of writing is only when the teacher is giving written assignments to the student, when the teacher allow the student to appear in MST1 mid-semester test or in the final examination. How my student will be able to develop their independent path of writing? When there are more reflective based activities given by the teacher in the class. So it's another discussion that how it is possible for me to create student led classroom. But as a teacher, my major objective to discuss all these things with all of you is, as a teacher, think of that what are the different opportunities provided by you as a teacher whenever you are delivering curriculum aspects to the student, how you are developing these skills of communication, how much stress you are giving to writing kind of skill, to reading, to listening, and to speaking. So that as a teacher we need to think of integration of technology, how technology is changing the classroom environment. My student need not to only listen to me, or I'm not only the knowledge provider. There are many experts available with the students online to whom the student can listen to in terms of information. And if those speakers were more interactive, more engaging, my student will be available with me in my class physically. They are hearing that information, but they are not listening that information, because they are analyzing that in this particular class I am available just for the sake of attendance. Whatever information I want to learn to, that information I may attend from the different online sessions that are available with me. So integration of technology also changing the context of communication. Now the students have choices that to whom they want to listen to. What are the different activities in terms of writing they want to perform? So students are integrating technology in their teaching learning activities. Fourth major point is language in policy. What NEP is stressing about in terms of language? कम्युनिकेशन के लेक्चर में ये तो पता होना चाहिए कि पॉलिसी क्या कह रही है in terms of language. So NEP is focusing upon the use of the regional language, the use of the national language, and ultimately we need to develop the proficiency of the student in terms of global language. So to develop the common understanding, communication की definition में क्या है? The second slide, arrive at a common understanding. If your students are comfortable in their own regional language, it means the common understanding can be developed by using their regional language, but ultimately the purpose is to develop the student for the international platforms, for the global working environment. So proficiency in that particular language also need to be developed within that institute with the help of the kind of training we are providing to them. But to develop a common understanding, NEP is stressing, if your student is able to process information in their own native language or in their own original language, the flexibility is available with the teacher to use that language. But when it comes to appearing in final examination or in class test, what language or what mode of learning we are using? We are using English as a language. So as a teacher, I need to understand that for their regional language, the common understanding can be developed, but gradually I need to improve the ability of my student in terms of language for that global language. So training in two different languages can be there. Flexibility is available with the teacher to develop that kind of understanding for their mutual benefit. The first point that NEP is stressing upon is the competency based education. What we mean by competency based education? Again, we need to consider the characteristics of the student population. Students are competing with each other nowadays, but in a collaborative manner. So when I'm saying in a collaborative manner, I need to understand, suppose my student is available on XYZ social media platform. It may be Instagram, it may be Snapchat. Facebook students are considering as an obsolete platform nowadays. Facebook abhi koi bachcha use nahi karta. They are either on Instagram or they are on Snapchat, and for academic groups they are mostly on Telegram. So when I'm saying competency based education, I need to understand that they are competing, but at the same time they are socially interconnecting with each other. So there are groups in which the students are dealing. There are different communities the students are creating for themselves. So we are calling it as community of learnings. Community of learning means, suppose you are offering one MOOC program to the student. Students are creating a group for the completion of that MOOC program. They are sharing information with each other, whether it is the submission of the assignment or whether it's the submission of any task and activity. Whenever you are assigning an activity to the student will share the activity with every member in that particular group. So they are competing, but at the same time they are collaborating with each other. So whenever there is collaboration, communication is going to be happened. They are going to discuss all aspects of information with each other. So in terms of effective communication, I need to understand and I need to go through these four aspects of communication, of NEP 2020, that how as a teacher, when I'm delivering that curriculum to my student, how the context of communication is changed. What are the expectations of my student population and how it is possible for me to fulfill those expectations. As a teacher, we are working in a diverse environment. So when I'm saying a diverse environment, maybe at your institute the infrastructure resources are somewhat different. At my institute the infrastructure resources are different. So we are dealing with a different kind of environment. India is a diverse country and it is applicable to our education system also. So as a teacher, you need to evaluate, you need to assess that what are the resources available with you, what kind of student population you have at your institute, and how it is possible for you to gradually improve the performance of your student by considering all the aspects of either new education policy or the demand of the working environment, and maybe the futuristic skills the industry is demanding. So we are in the phase of industry 4.0 and 5.0, and industry 4 and 5.0, there are different kind of expectation in terms of skills from the student population. Communication skill is again the important skill that we need to develop. So we need to think of that how we are exposing our student to this kind of changing environment, and how it is possible for me to prepare them. So ultimately, when it comes to the communication, a process of generating meaning by sending and receiving verbal and non-verbal symbols and signs. So it is not only the verbal explanation that we are developing and delivering to our student, but it is also the non-verbal behavior of the teacher that comes into picture. And even when the students are doing or performing activities in teams and group, their nonverbal behavior sending you signs and signals that whether they are available and the part of that particular activity or not, or whether they are discussing about informal things while dealing with that team or with that group. So as a teacher, I need to understand that it is not only the verbal explanation that I am developing, but at the same time my non-verbal symbols and signs are also the part of that classroom environment. So how as a teacher I am presenting myself in front of my students, so ultimately the students are going to imitate my behavior. So when I am presenting information, maybe my student considering me as their role model, and they try to copy my behavior later on when the chances or available opportunities provided to them to present that amount of information. So as a teacher, there is an aura that you entered in a class, the students are collecting your signs and symbols from the nonverbal behavior. So what are your body gestures, your facial expression, your hand movement, your feet movement? So all these signs the students are collecting. So as a teacher, whenever I am available with my student, I must use an appropriate body language. So that need to be understand by me as a teacher. Communication is a two-way process. Earlier also we have explained that when it comes to a communication, there are two major things involved. One is the receiver and another is the sender. And NEP is giving me flexibility to use three different languages in my class. So by considering the nature of my audience, it is up to me that what mode of communication I am selecting for my candidates. Suppose in this particular class, if I am start speaking in Punjabi, that is my regional language, अगर मैं आपको पंजाबी में पढ़ाना शुरू कर दूं, आई एम श्योर मेनी ऑफ द पार्टिसिपेंट्स विल नॉट एबल टू understand. Just by collecting signals from the class, it is clear to me that English is a good language to adopted by me for this classroom delivery. If there are many of the participants from the Punjab state, I may ask to the participant that in what language you are more comfortable. Is it Punjabi? Is it Hindi? Is it mixed or is it English? So first thing that we need to understand that whenever we are communicating with each other, what are the target audience? So depending upon the nature of the audience, I am going to select the way I am communicating with them. Learning how to interpret the information received from other. So in communication, cultural aspects also plays an important role. So when I'm saying cultural aspects plays an important role, so in northern region of our country, there may be different cultural aspect as compared to the southern part. So when I'm in a class, I need to consider that what are the things or what are the societal norms that are acceptable in this particular environment may not be acceptable in different region or in different state. So that is also need to be considered by me. So learning how to interpret the information received from other. So maybe for this particular classroom, the nonverbal symbols and signs plays an important role as compared to the verbal explanation. So I need to consider or I need to see a whole picture when it comes to communication or designing different communication messages. It is not my choice how I am designing messages. It is the choice of the audiences for whom I am designing and delivering my messages. So when it comes to communication, we are communicating to others, but at the same time, it is important for me to receive different signals from that particular environment, consider those signs and signals as a feedback to design further messages for that particular population. So all these things we need to consider in a communication kind of setup. So in nutshell, when it comes to communication, it is sharing of meaning. So whatever meaning of the information that you want another to understand, that kind of information need to be delivered by you. So if it is an important information that we want to deliver, what skill of communication we need to use? If it is an most important information that I want to deliver, what skill of communication I need to use? Is it by saying? Is it by writing? It is by the use of writing skill. If it is the most important information. So when I'm writing, I'm reflecting upon my writing. Writing is always a difficult skill to develop. So whatever I'm writing, whether the same meaning is interpreted by the other member or not, if that another colleague or another member in this particular room is able to interpret the same meaning of my writing, it is possible for me to convey the most important information by the use of that writing. I am saying something and another person may be listening to that information or maybe just hearing to that information. So maybe that information is not able to delivered in an accurate manner. So in an official environment or in a professional world, whenever there is an important and urgent information that we want to deliver, the use of skill is writing skill. Listening kahan hogi? What's the difference between listening and hearing? Yes. So we are going to discuss about these aspect also. So the point of discussion is when I'm saying sharing of meaning, in what environment you are delivering that message, whether that person is thoughtful for that particular environment or not. Sometimes it happened in a classroom environment, we are saying 10 different things to our students on a regular basis, but whether they are listening to that information or not. So I'm sharing information with them, whether they are mindful for that particular information or not. If I want them to be more engaged, more mindful for that information, it may be written kind of information or written kind of advisory that I need to convey to my or deliver to my students. So sharing of meaning means in what environment, in what context you are communicating with each other. So घर पे हम लिख लिख के messages भेजते हैं एक दूसरे को. When we are at home, we are not sending the written messages. Maybe nowadays with the use of technology, we are in personal environment also, we are sharing some of the messages in writing, but in an informal kind of setup. When we are sharing information, most of the time we are using speaking skills and we are more involved into listening kind of skill. In a professional environment, when there is important information that we want to deliver, most of the uses of the writing kind of skill. कोई भी ऑफिस सर्कुलर आता है, ऑफिस नोटिस आता है, वो राइटिंग में आता है. Our seniors are not going to record message and send that message to all of us. It is always in an written manner. So context of communication, how you are sharing those meanings with each other. So communication में next part क्या आएगा हमारा? Context of communication. In what context you are communicating? It can be formal, it can be informal, it can be personal, it can be professional. Skills of communication, we have already discussed that there are 4 different skills of communication, that is listening, speaking, reading and writing. When I'm not communicating with anyone, I am communicating with myself. So 30% of the time, as per the literature, we are communicating with ourselves. So when I'm analyzing myself, when I'm collecting my own feedback, so that is I'm communicating with myself. I am revisiting that information, I am collecting messages from the past event and I am communicating with myself. most of the time we are communicating with others. 70% of the time communicating with others, and 30% of the time we are communicating with ourselves. Listening, the time spent on listening is approximately 45%, writing only 9%, reading skill 16%, and speaking skill is up to 30%. In a teacher centered classroom environment, most of the time we are spending on listening and speaking. But NEP saying student led classroom, the most of the time the students will be involved into different activities and tasks. When the students are involved independently in different activities and tasks, the most of the time spent on reading, because they are the in charge of the activity. They need to read information first, then they need to discuss about information, then it comes the speaking, and when they are submitting activities to the teacher, they involve themselves into writing kind of activity. So NEP 2020 is going to change the way we were using skills in classroom environment in terms of communication. So if there is discussion in a classroom, the teacher is not only the speaker, the teacher will also become the listener in that environment. When the students are discussing, the teacher will observing those discussion. So after listening to the information only, the teacher can provide corrective feedback to the student. So when we are talking about the skill, we need to consider that how these skills are going to be changed over the period of time. So I'm not going into this detail. So this is the basic model of communication. So we till now we talked about who will be the sender and the receiver. In a classroom environment, most of the time the teacher will the sender of that information. When the teacher is exposing the student with the new information, and students will become the receiver of that information. Once that content delivery is over, the students need to become sender. Means the student need to design few questions to ask to the faculty. In that particular case, the students will become sender and teacher will act as a receiver in that particular environment. Whosoever will be the sender, he will encoding that information. Encoding means sharing of the common understanding. Encoding means designing those messages by considering the nature of the audience. Whosoever your audiences are, according to that you are going to design messages. Decoder, I am speaking in English, somebody is comfortable in Hindi. He will not be able to decode my message because I'm using a different language. So, encoding, decoding must be as per the nature of the audience available. Context of communication. In what context you are communicating. So, we need to consider informal setting है, formal setting, professional setting, personal setting. Likewise, the media or channel of communication must be selected by the sender of the message and the receiver of the message. Two-way communication is not going to be happened in if feedback is not available in that system. What we mean by feedback?
Response. Students response.
Student response and teacher response also. So obtaining and providing feedback. Whenever there is a feedback, there are opportunities available with me as a teacher to improve my instructional messages. So अगर मेरा student, if the student is saying to me that this information is very complex, I am not able to understand this information. So as a teacher, it is hint to me, I need to have simplified delivery of that information so that my students are able to understand it. When I am giving feedback to my student, I am giving messages to my students to improve upon. So if feedback is not there, two-way communication is not going to be happened. So feedback is an essential step in the process of communication. Next is noise we need to consider. What we mean by noise? External and internal. Why internal? When you are not communicating, you are communicating with yourself. So if there is stress, anxiety, it is not possible for you to communicate in an external environment also. So we need to understand that whenever there are noises, it is not only the external noise, but it is also the internal noise of the speaker and of the receiver. Suppose if as a speaker, I'm not physically well today, it is not possible for me to deliver effectively. That is considered as internal noise. If I'm not comfortable in this particular setup, that is again my personal choice and that is again my own internal noise, nothing to do with the audience. So that internal noise is going to affect the flow of communication. External noise, it is very common for me to listen to the information or listen to the noises that is happening outside this area. Road is there, vehicles are there, so it's a very common kind of noise. So this is not a noise for me because I'm habitual to this kind of environment. Maybe for another speaker, maybe for the audience, it is considered as an external noise. So internal and external, both kind of noises are going to affect the flow of communication. So context of communication, noise, sender receiver concept, coding and coding of the messages, and feedback. Next is comes to the channel of communication. What we mean by the channel of communication, how we are transmitting information. In the very second slide, we have considered the process of transmitting information. How we are going to transmit information? By the use of different channels. Those channels are totally dependent upon what kind of resources available with you and what are the expectations of your audience in terms of the selection of channel. If you are saying to your class student that whenever you are going to read something, there are reference textbook available in the library, but my Gen Z students are not very comfortable when it comes to read something from books. It is clear to me as a teacher. So I'm forcing to them to go to the library and read that amount of information. Is it not convenient for my student to have that information on their LMS facility, that is learning management system? So you convert that book from the library shelf into a digital or an ebook and provide that information to the student. It is more comfortable for my student to read that amount of information flexible in a flexible manner. Flexible manner means that PDF is available with me in my smartphone anywhere, anytime, whenever I am mindful for that activity, I can read that amount of information. So, channel of communication means what are the demands of my audience in this particular environment and how I am providing them that information. So, when Government of India is saying, or there are education policies that are saying that 40% of subject can be offered with the help of massive open online courses to the student. Why they are making such kind of policies? Because this is the demand of our student population. They want to integrate technology in all aspects of their life. So education is one of the aspects. So when I'm saying channel, channel is again selected as per the resources available with you as a teacher and how the students are thinking about and using the different kind of channel. If I'm saying to my class student that you are not going to use your cell phone in my class, is it practically possible for them? It is practically not possible for them because that is the part of their behavior now. They are going to use the digital devices. So as a teacher, when I'm selecting channel, am I designing a quiz maybe, or any different apps are available nowadays that allow my student to use these smart devices while available with me in my class, but for teaching learning activities, not for the entertainment purposes. So rather than restricting that kind of environment, we need to adopt those channels that is the demand of that student population. Only then the communication is going to be happen. So we need to consider that what is the practical reality and as per that practical reality, how I am preparing myself as a teacher as per the nature and level of the audience that is available with me. So there may be institutions, there may be students in your class with whom the smart devices are not available. So with those students, what kind of facilities you are providing, what are the different channels you are providing to them to communicate with each other? So that also need to be think of by us as a teacher. So we need to understand that what are the different actors that are involved in a classroom environment. So specifically in a classroom environment, these are the four different stakeholders, or we can say the actors. One is the teacher. Teacher is the member who is going to create structured and organized kind of experiences for the student. If as a teacher I'm considering that my responsibility is to deliver information to them, whether they are able to understand it or not, that will be evaluated by me in their test or at the end of the semester. The teacher is not taking part in communication. The teacher is not an effective communicator. The teacher is just delivering information to the student. So if your students are not able to interact with you, if there is no interpersonal relationship developed among student and teacher, it means you are not able to effectively communicate with them. You cannot act as a counselor, you cannot act as a mentor, you cannot act as a facilitator. What role you are playing in a classroom environment? You are just a guide for the student, because the channel of communication is not developed by the teacher among student population. So as a teacher, when I'm dealing with my student and I'm designing and delivering many of the instructional messages, it is not only instructional messages, there are informal discussions also in a classroom. There are some sort of disciplinary information that we are going to provide to our student. Sometimes as a teacher, we act as a counselor also for our student. We are listening to their personal problems also, and we are giving to them suggestions also. Effective communicator as a teacher mean you must be able to do certain roles in a classroom, not only as a facilitator and a guide, but as a counselor and a mentor. So when I'm saying internal noise, external noises, how you are going to control the internal noise of your student? When you are, the student is able to share their problems with you, and you as a teacher able to solve and give suggestions to the student. Only then it is possible for you to control their internal noises. Next is medium. What are the different mediums available with you for communication? It can be whiteboard, it can be PowerPoint presentation method you are using, it can be integrated podiums available which provide handouts to the student as you are delivering. The information is recorded by the podium, and at the end of the class the teacher can give printout command, and all kind of verbal explanation is available with the student in a written form. So that can be the different mediums available with the teacher. Messages, किस तरह के मैसेज होंगे? Formal also need to be there, informal also need to be there. Whenever there is informal discussion created by the teacher in a class, it is possible for you to set the context of communication. It is possible for you to remove or eradicate the internal noises among student population. So expectations of the student do not want to listen to us all the time. The one practical reality in today's environment is students do not want to listen to us all the time. They want to do something while sitting in the class. So the classes must be full of activities, and there must be target specific task for the student. Target specific means where the behavior of the student comes into picture. So maybe you can plan your sessions in such a way that for 10 to 15 minutes there will be discussion in a class. Rest of the time the teacher will explaining the content, but maybe at the end 10 to 15 minutes either there will be an activity or either there will be an discussion, so that student will be mindful in your next session, because at the end 10 to 15 minutes the teacher will start with the discussion part only. Information is already available in abundance. We need to map that information. Rather than spoon feeding that information, we need to provide opportunity to the student to explore that information in your presence as a teacher. If agar wo English पढ़ सकता है, if the student is able to read if the student is able to speak, you need to provide opportunity to the students to explore information in a different manner by creating opportunities. So just give me a second. I want to show you two different websites. So since morning we are talking about that this population is changing, the characteristics of this particular population is changing. Now we need to understand this is a website for the school system. So the school system, because most of the Gen Z population available with us in the school system, and there is a list created by that particular by the this particular platform, that how Gen Z population is interacting with each other. So nowadays, and I have observed also in my own nearby school only, during the lunch time or during their school breaks, the students are interacting with each other. But when they are interacting with each other, they're using a different kind of vocabulary, and some of the words are not known to us. Even when they are doing chat with their fellow members or with their fellow school friends, the kind of vocabulary, the kind of word selection used by the teacher may not be known to the parents or may not be known to the teacher population. After integrating AI in education system, there are many platforms available with the students with whom they are interacting. They are the virtual models of technology, so they are considering them as a human model, but in an actual sense they are the virtual model. They are guiding the students, they are counseling the student. So an AI member is guiding my own child, my own student. As a parent, as a teacher, I need to be very aware that what are the different sources used by my students, maybe at their home or maybe in my own professional spaces, and what kind of languages they are using with each other to communicate. So these are the few of the words. So you can check this particular website, schooldekho.org, and there is a list provided for the Gen Z students. So these are the different words used by them in Chandigarh. I'm talking about my city. Bet is a very common word used by the student population. Cap is a very common word. Flex is a very common word. Ghost has a different meaning for this particular population. Locky is a very different kind of word that is used, and it's a very common vocabulary used by school and higher educational student. So if somebody said to me Locky or somebody said to me ghost, maybe I have a different meaning. I may have a different understanding, but that vocabulary have a different sense and different meaning for that particular population. When they are saying lit, something exciting, something fun, and something amazing. When they are using word cap, it means lying. For me, cap is what we were wearing. For this particular population, cap is lying. Or next is when we are saying extra, over the top, or unnecessary, dramatic. T, the word with each other like this. They are using in their verbal delivery also. These are the very common words that they are using. Let's go for tea, it means let's go for gossiping out of the class. So these are the common words. Spill the tea, it's again a very common word used by the university candidates. Share gossip or secrets. Slay, to do something exceptionally well. So as a teacher, I need to understand that with what kind of population, what is their vocabulary, how they are interacting with each other, and what are the ratio. We are available on social media. When the replies outweigh likes, showing disagreement. So this kind of words is used by the, so it's a very long list available. And there are many of the words that are very common among student population. Let's manifest, hoping, willing something to happen. It me, a very common word used by us also. It me, admitting something that applies to you. I am baby, playfully claiming to be cute or innocent. So these are the different words used by the student population nowadays. And I'm sure in your state also there is a different kind of vocabulary that is developed by the student population, and we as teacher and we as parents are not aware of. Another website that I would like to share with all my participants is Dictionary for the Millennial Generation. We were learning about Oxford Dictionary or other kind of dictionary. So this is the dictionary of this millennial generation. Skull emoji, when their emoji is considered as an official language for communication. Why emoji is considered as an official language? Because it allowed the faculty to know about their emotional experiences in a given formal environment. Suppose you are engaging a session in an online platform and students or respondents start sending emojis to you. So those are nothing but the kind of emotional experiences that student population may have in your class. If they are sleeping, clear hint to the faculty कि आपकी online class is not good, it is not engaging. So emoji is considered as an sign to assess the non-verbal sign and signals in a given formal environment, and it is considered official by many of the universities at global level. So when the student is using skull as an emoji, so skull and an emoji is does not fully capture how hilarious the joke or situation is. Clown face emoji, हम अभी तक वो crying and happy and sad face we were using, but millennial generation is using these kind of emojis. Clown face emoji, loudly crying face emoji, grinning face emojis, thumbs up emojis. So these are the 5 major emojis the student population is using nowadays. Why it is essential for us to understand this kind of language? Why it is essential for us to understand that what is happening. So there are many reports available in different newspapers also nowadays. Students are taking guidance from technology resources, and the kind of guidance the technology or the virtual models are providing to the student, that may be different from their realities. So when the technology is in for this particular population, we as stakeholders, we as teachers, we as parents need to be very aware that what kind of vocabulary, what kind of channels of communication, what are the different media platforms they are using for communicating with each other. I am sure that there are many of the parents and many of the student teachers in a class who do not know my students interacting with whom. Might be he is interacting with the fellow students in a class, but at the same time that student may be in connection with a student 500 kilometer away from your university or from your institution. When you are delivering messages to them, maybe they are taking help of those students who are sitting 500 kilometer away from your institution or from your university. So that is why in communication it is being said that in today's technology environment, the context of communication and kind of noises that is available in that particular environment need to be known by the sender and by the receiver also. You are delivering a disciplinary message to the student in a class, but student internal noise is very high. अगर वो डिप्रेशन में है, अगर उसका इंटरनल स्ट्रेस एंजाइटी लेवल इज वेरी हाई, your disciplinary measure or your disciplinary action may have a negative impact on that student life. So context and noises in communication need to be fully understood by the teacher whenever he or she is delivering any kind of information to the student population. Role of the teacher, there must be clear and concise communication. So in a teacher centered classroom, earlier when we are communicating, so as a teacher, when I'm communicating in today's environment and today's context, it must be very clear and concise communication. I'm not going to pass any personal remark to my student. Whatever remark, whatever statement I'm going to give to my student, it is as per the activity assigned to them. पहले हम कहते थे he is a very good boy, he is a very good girl. In today context, the feedback need to be given to the activity, not to the candidate. So they may have different personality dimension, they may have in a different connection or in a different mindset. So whenever the teacher is designing message, it must be very clear and very concise. The teacher must be adaptable to that particular environment. So when my student is using cell phone and I am not allowing my student to use that cell phone, as a teacher I need to allow my student to use cell phone, but for education purposes. Rather than giving written assignment at home, I can assign an activity to my student for 10 to 15 minutes and ask my student to explore any information you want from your cell phone, from any digital device you have, and come up with the solution of the problem given to you. My students are in the habit of playing with the phone. They are playing with the phone, but for education purpose. So adaptability to that environment, technology integration must be there. The teacher must be aware of what are the different kind of technologies that are in, how the students are using that technology for communicating with each other. Not today. In 2015 there was one survey, and in that survey is what clearly indicated that 84% of higher educational student from different higher education institution are using different digital devices to complete their assignments at home, and 64% of the school students are using digital devices to communicate with each other and to complete their home based assignment, and the students are from the school level. कब का सर्वे है ये? 2015, and we are at 2025. Nowadays, when I am giving any kind of message to my student and I ask the student to write something, my student will search for, किस प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाते हैं वो? चैट जीपीटी और जेमिनी. Even the school students are very good in terms of using these kind of technology apps. So when I'm giving a written statement to my student and want my student to develop the writing skill, am I giving a routine kind of a problem, or am I giving a reflective or application based kind of written activity to my student? So as a teacher, we need to think upon that how we are able to integrate technology in teaching learning. Cultural relevance plays an important role. Your societal norms may be different from my societal norm. Your cultural aspects may be different from my cultural aspect and my cultural dimension. So, as per cultural aspect, also the communication will vary. There are some of the communities who are more into listening to the information. There are some of the communities who are more into speaking about that information. Constructive feedback. If feedback is not there, it is not possible for me to create two-way communication. So the mode of obtaining and providing feedback to the student need to be identified by the teacher. Collaborative communication. What we mean by collaborative communication? Make learning communities in your class. When I'm saying learning communities in your class, ask the student to perform certain activities independently within the group. Provide them support, but do not spoon feed information. Ask them to explore information. Ask them to synthesize information. If you are giving an application based assignment to the student, maybe one in a semester, when the student is searching for that particular assignment, suppose usne Google पे keyword type करे and they are searching for that information, there may be 25 different websites available with the student. Now the student is going to read all kind of information that is available. So collaborative kind of communication is the part in technology integrated environment. The teacher need to synthesize information. Within the group, they must decide that what part I will read, what part you will read, and how we will come up with the conclusive kind of activity at the end. So rather than जब textbook थी तो there may be one unit or there may be one part of the unit the student need to read, but in this particular environment when there are number of information, number of pdfs comes with the student, just by the click of the mouse the teacher need to think of that it is not an independent communication that is happening in technology integrated environment. It is collaborative kind of communication that need to be the part of this particular culture. At school level, students are researching information. There are many students in this particular city who are able to design their own LMS, who are able to design their own Canva, they are able to design their website. कौन से स्टूडेंट हैं? स्टूडेंट एट अ प्राइमरी लेवल, 4th standard, 5th standard. Those students have training in terms of designing website, using Canva, using pictography, using LMS facility. Those students will become the future student of higher education institution. So it will not easy for me to engage those students after 7 to 8 year in my traditional teaching learning practices. So when I'm thinking about higher education institution or students of my institution, I need to foresee the future also. The student who will become the part after 7 to 8 years. in my profession. So how I'm going to deal with that particular population. So when we are saying adaptability to the environment, if the environment is changing, as a teacher I must be aware of, and as a teacher I must have some sort of professional training when it comes to the use of changing technology, maybe changing context, maybe changing characteristics of student population, maybe only then it is possible for me to understand and design messages for that particular population. Medium selection. Medium selection means it is always as per the nature of the student. If there are diverse students available with you in a class, diversity means a different kind of expectation of every candidate, a different level of understanding of every candidate. So what medium you are selecting, it is the diverse kind of medium must be selected by the teacher. So when I am delivering information, it is not only PowerPoint presentation, it is not only lecture method. Depending upon the choice of the student in my class, we are not saying that in a single class I'm using all kind of resources, but for a complete program or for a complete subject, there must be variety added by the teacher to gain interest of the student within that academic calendar. So mediums which state and classify the objective to be achieved. When I'm using PowerPoint presentation, when there is more of verbal explanation, less or minimal of activities. When I'm using lecture method, that is again verbal mode of delivery, when I want to expose my student with the new information, and that information is very in abundance. So it's a more of information that is new. I'm going by lecture method because I have to deliver them all amount of information. When I'm using case study method of teaching, when I want my student to read something, when I want my student to think about that information, when I'm using role play method of teaching, when I want my student to be the part of that particular activity or that particular environment. So, whatever medium I am selecting, it is as per my objective. So, what as a teacher I want to obtain? List various teaching learning activity and then finalize the mode of your teaching learning. If as a teacher I'm not comfortable in using technology, I'm not able to control my class, अगर मुझे टेक्नोलॉजी यूज ही नहीं करना आता, इट इज नॉट पॉसिबल फॉर मी टू कंट्रोल दैट पर्टिकुलर क्लास. इट मीन्स द टीचर comfort and order also comes into picture when he or she is communicating. If you are not comfortable in delivering in a global language, that is English, it is not possible for you to improve the quality among your student population also. So teacher comfort and order also comes into picture. Select the medium or media which best satisfy the media selection factor. So if the resources are not available, do not go by those resources. When I'm saying resources are not available, it is not only the teacher but with the student population also. You are giving application based assignment and student need to explore information from different internet resources. If that internet facility is not available with the student in their own personal spaces, whether they are able to complete that activity, नहीं कर पाएगा because internet is not available with that candidate. So when we are saying the selection of the media factor, it is as per the resources available with teacher as well as student population. Next is what kind of messages are the part of today's environment. It can be offline messages. So when we are designing messages, the mode of communication that is used by the teacher may be verbal communication and non-verbal. Maximum message is conveyed and collected by your audience with your non-verbal communication. 70% of the message is conveyed with your non-verbal behavior. Only 30% of the message is conveyed with the help of verbal behavior. So as a teacher, the non-verbal behavior must be controlled by the teacher. So there must always be appropriate non-verbal communication that is displayed and shown by the teacher in front of student. Verbal include giving instruction, leading to the discussion and providing feedback in a real-time classroom. How we can develop habit of the student to listen to us, to write something into a class when there is an note taking activity happened in a classroom environment. You are providing some advanced information, not the routine kind of information that is already available in a textbook. If there is an advanced information, if there is any case, if there is an real life example that you are going to give to your student, if you are integrating your teaching with research based activity, so you are relating with the latest research area, ask the student to write that information, so that allow the habit to actively listening and writing something in your presence as a faculty. So but information not be routine, it must be advanced. Another kind of messages the teacher is designing is online messages. For online messages, learning management system need to be integrated in teaching learning environment. The teacher must send personalized emails to the student, so it may be the class group, or it may be the telegram group, it may be the WhatsApp group, or any social media platform may be integrated in your teaching learning environment. Those social media platforms help you to design different online messages and convey to the student population with minimal effort. But when you are writing something to the student population with the help of this social media platform, the selection of the word must be very respectful. The tonal quality of your written words must be very respectful. It is applicable to student population also, and it is applicable to the teacher population also. I want to share my personal experience over here. I conducted one program at Knitter only FTP that was in online mode. And in an online mode, at the end, we are compiling attendance of all the participants. By rule, when I'm compiling attendance of the participants, I'm compiling on the basis of registered email IDs with us. Because if there are 600 participants available with me in an FTP, I do not know how many email addresses used by the participant to log into that platform. There are faculty members who are using 4 different email IDs, 8 different email IDs, but I am mapping my attendance with my registered ID only, whatever you have written on our website. One teacher, a very senior faculty, writing me an email that you are considering my attendance as a short, I will file a court case against you. Okay, this is the message designed by a very senior teacher and sent to me via email that you are considering my attendance as short. I have all kind of recordings available with me. I have all kind of feedback forms that I have submitted on day-to-day basis with me. So I will file a court case against you if you do not issue me a certificate. So how I need to respond to that particular message? So that faculty is using 8 different email IDs to log into the platform. Only on the first day he was using the registered ID. Other day he is using email IDs with his own personal choice. So when we are saying the tonal quality, the selection of the words, it must be very respectful when you are communicating with each other in different online platform, because if recorded information is available with that faculty, recorded information is available with us also. So we can take all kind of precautions while compiling data, and we are asking again and again to the participant that if there is any discrepancy, you are requested to kindly let us know before issuing the final certificate. It can be a negative impact also on that candidate. उस email पे the action can be taken by us also, action can be taken by that candidate also. दोनों के पास right है, दोनों के पास rules permitting. So why in an online messages, when we are interacting with the student, this is all kind of recorded information you are conveying to each other. So in recorded information, there must always be formal kind of messages, there must always be respectful messages. The word selection, the tonal quality, the quality of the word must always be respectful for receiver and for sender. Otherwise it will have negative impact on you as a teacher also, and on the student population also. So when it comes to the student population, they are using multimedia for communication. So as a teacher, we need to understand this. there must be more of reflection based activities for the student. When they write something, they will be able to process information. So writing need to be developed among student population. Incorporate oral presentation. When there is a presentation delivered by the student, there are possibilities that we will be able to develop proficiency in a given language. Initially, the student will present information in their native language or in their regional language. When it becomes a routine activity, the student can shift from the teacher can guide the student to shift his or her approach from their native language to the global language. And after maybe 3 year or 4 year, the student is able to present information by using global language with proficiency. Emphasize on writing project. If you want to develop command over the language, reading writing skills need to be given due importance. Only then the information can be developed and proficiency in terms of communication can be enhanced. Many a times it happened when we write something as a teacher, and after 10 to 15 days I again go through my own writing. There are many mistakes or many errors I am able to identify. So when we are writing, we are correcting ourselves again and again. So that kind of independent writing activity need to be enhanced among student population only. Must maybe a paragraph writing, maybe a key takeaways of the lecture at the end of the class, 4 to 5 lines. The student need to write what they learned today in today's delivery, what is more complex part for them. But when they are writing, they are developing their language proficiency. So allow them to write. So at the end, forms of communication in a classroom can be interpersonal, it can be intrapersonal, it can be group based, it can be public, or it can be mass. When we are saying interpersonal, mutually influence on each other. Intrapersonal, internal and external stimuli need to be there. Only then the student is going to communicate with oneself. Student centered classrooms, if there and teacher is able to organize, the group communication can be enhanced. In a teacher centered classroom, the public kind of communication need to be, you acted as a public speaker for your classroom student when you are presenting information. So they are collecting your signs and signals, and they are collecting etiquettes to present information in a public manner. So public kind of communication can be enhanced. When you are integrating technology, this is the example of mass communication that is happening. So at the end, I'm not going to give activity to all of you. So we need to understand that there are the different skills of communication. As a teacher, we need to understand that how I'm going to develop those kind or those skills of communication among student population by creating organized and structured kind of experiences for them. So this was all about that I want to share with all of you.